How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffled Rowlet, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, lads, we're going to be taking a look at some Pokemon theories and speculation, rumors, leaks, etc., stuff like that about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet that have popped up. So, sit back, get relaxed, get ready, and let's jump into the information right away. Kicking things off right here, starting off with this post made by none else than Atari. Now, Atari makes some really great theories and puts together some really great thoughts about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet so far throughout the year, and I thought we'd take a look at this massive, and I really mean massive theory, so sit back, grab yourself a beverage, just like I'm going to do right here, and let's get started. So, hi, today I'm posting a personal theory that I've been pondering since Scarlet and Violet's first trailer. It's the first time that we have such a unified concept behind a region. Well, I'm going to say it, Paldea and its characters are forming a still life. Now, I'm not sure exactly what he's talking about, but there's a lot of fruit, okay? Now, he continues on saying the following. First of all, what is a still life? A still life is a work of art depicting common objects, which can be food, rings a bell maybe, natural objects, flowers, rocks, dead animals, skulls. Does it ring a bell again? Look at the amount of grapes and oranges. So yeah, I guess this is a kind of like art of like fruit baskets kind of type thing. I guess, you know, still life. I didn't even know that was the way it was called, but good to know. And yes, there's a lot of oranges and grapes in particular, which are the two representative fruits of each of the games, right? With Scarlet and Violet. Then, again, let's continue on down further. Or artificial man-made instruments to eat, vases, glasses, coins, weapons, vehicles. I think a bell is ringing, right? It has its origin in the Greco-Roman art, and its popularity skyrocketed around the Middle Ages towards the Renaissance till this day. Which, yes, you can see kind of the same ideals going on here within this old art. He continues on further saying, it was extremely popular in the Netherlands, Spain, Portugal, and Italy in the 15th, 16th, and 17th century, which is important since those countries have been historically connected. I love still life paintings. They are used everywhere in Spain, if you're curious about it. Still life is a type of work of art full of meaning, double meanings, symbology, etc. You know, just kind of a way where like a piece of art that doesn't just mean one singular thing, but can mean multiple different things, and has a lot of symbolic value behind it. So yeah, a lot of hidden meanings in the Paldean world building too. Just think about the names of characters, cities, concepts behind the Pokemon. So there are multiple styles of still lives, being the Vanitas, the one that expresses the power of death to equal all of us, which I think is beautiful, but also there are still lives that want to represent a culture by using its common items and foods. Now, still lives that want to develop a feeling of being in the wilderness, still lives depicting man-made objects to represent our inventiveness, etc. I think you all know where this is going. So, you'd be asking yourself, hey Terry, why the hell were you thinking about Paldea as a still life since the first trailer? Well, let me show you some screenshots and you will understand. Do you see them? Now, he says here, if you look at this one, I guess there's stuff, I mean, there's art on the wall, but I can't really tell exactly right here what he's talking about. On this one, it's, I guess, somewhat obvious. Maybe the Pokeballs, maybe the art in the back, the actual, like, dial with the time. I'm not sure if that, again, fits. I'm kind of missing something. Maybe the whole thing, maybe this whole picture, everything in that trailer is still life. I mean, this is clearly it, right? Like the sandwiches with the oranges and the grapes, everything makes sense. Do you see how the distribution is similar and is showing precisely what I was talking about? The focus on food and objects that are the same as in the paintings, plus new ones. Apart from that, the security guard is in a I guess, might be in a museum. But you know, that is not enough to confirm a theory, right? So let's see some character names, city names, and Pokemon concepts that shape this huge still life concept. Now, first of all, every character name in Scarlet and Violet is related to flowers. As you know, are a big part of still lives, especially since the 18th century. Let's check those names. Florian and Juliana, which I guess are the names of the male and female characters that you can play as, like the names of the protagonists. Both names are referencing flowers. Florian is a name made out of the root of flos, Latin for flower, and flor, which is Spanish for flower. It is a Latin name. Also, Florian is a Spanish name. Juliana or Juliana is also a Spanish name, and it means literally homonym flower. Then he continues on saying Nemona is in every language, even thought it may be a different as Menica, comes from Nemophilia, which is Menica, maybe a reference to the Nemophilia menziesi, which is the baby blue eyes flower. Just remember, there is a Pokemon line of merchants called Baby Blue Eyes. It all comes together. Arven is referencing the Mentha arvensis, a type of mint. In Spanish, the name Damian might also reference the Dauphina mint. In Japanese, Peppa, his name is referencing peppermint. Same in Italian, German, and French as well. Penny is a reference towards peony, or sae with a French pania. So basically, again, another flower. So there you go. You got clavel, which is pretty straightforward in every language. Clavel or clavel. Yeah, his name comes from the Spanish-Portuguese words for carnation, clavel. By the way, the Spanish national flower, and also very important in the Portuguese culture. So there you go. Jacques, the key are the Japanese and Spanish names, which can be read as zinnia or zinnia flowers. In Spanish is cinio, referencing the zinnia flower. There you go. Then we have Brassius or Brassica. Napus is the name of the rapeseed. So again, a lot of flower and nature connection. Geta, apart from being a beautiful Indian name, high Portuguese influence in Paldea, it has a flower meaning inside of it. It comes from Sagittaria, which is, I guess, Sagittaria, whatever. 3-leaf arrowhead, a beautiful white flower. But the key is in the French and Italian name Alisma, literally Alissamacea, which is the family of Sagittaria, so on and so forth. Now, it is time for fruits. Featured in the still life since the Greco-Roman origins, Grusha is the same in every language. His name is the Russian word for pear, which is actually interesting because in Bosnian, it's Kruška. Right? That's how we call peers, right? So yes, even when I thought about that name, I always used to think, like, when I saw that name, I was thinking to myself, it is oddly similar, but I never took that connection into account. So yeah, Grusha, I guess the Russian word for it, but even in Bosnian, it is Kruška, which is for peer. So there you go. Mela in English is pretty obscure, but even though mela is the Italian word for apple, nonetheless, mela is not referencing an apple, but a peach. Merocco is the Japanese transcription of the Spanish melocoton, peach. Same with the French meloco. The color is explained with, the looks that we have right there. In Spanish, she is called mello, again, melocoton. The German name Irsa is referencing the German word for peach. And the same happens with the Italian pruna, that is referencing the scientific name of the peach, Prunus persica. And persica, right? Like pesca in Swedish. Mela is a melocoton, and I love her because of this. So, just with this information is enough to think about it as a still life. But there is more. Let's think about the names of the cities that have been showcased until now, and as well as the academias. Mesagoza or Mesaledo or Mesapoli, all of them contain the word mesa, table in Spanish. In Japanese, it is pretty clear about it. It means table city. So yeah, the main city is the table for the still life. I will keep posting just a minute, but here's basically the kind of like, it's almost like the canvas, right? It's the table, it's the canvas upon which lots of different things can be painted on that can have different sorts of meanings. Continuing on. Inside Mesagoza, we have the Uva and Naranja academies. Spanish for grape and orange. Pretty straightforward too, to be honest. We have grapes, oranges, peaches, flowers, etc. over the table. I mean, even, literally, even pears, I guess. But it doesn't end here. Yesterday I talked about how Artazon is referencing different bowls in its name, check the thread, and Glaciado is referencing a type of sugar coating for sweets that, by the way, are usually the protagonists of some still lives, which I guess you can see right here. And he talked about this in the previous one, but let's talk about Pokemon concepts too. We have a flowery sprig lynx, Prihatito, a pepper crocodile, Huecoco, and an olive smoliv, a pig, Lechonk, which were used on still lifes too, a bread dog, Fido, and a crab, Cloth, and a monkey that, moreover, eats a lot of berries, Graphii. All of these concepts are featured in still lifes, but also modern still lifes depict vehicles and parts of them. So Cyclizar, Miraidon, Coraidon, all of them fit into this, including, right? So this is like a modern still life piece of art, right? But that's not all. We also have that new engine Pokemon as well. So, but what about Armarouge and Cerulege? Well, weapons and armors, so Armarouge, were also a big part of the 17th century Vanitas, portraying the objects of famous dead knights as a way of showing how death is the same for everyone. Check the still life armor and cannon. So you can see right there. You got it, right? Continuing on, about Vanitas, quite a dark concept, right? It fits well perfectly with the Cerulege. In fact, Cerulege might be the whole Vanitas still life reference with the ghost type and the use of souls and frustration, which I guess makes sense, it fits well. Then he says, and to finish it, just remember the big teaser we had in Sword and Shield for Scarlet and Violet. Yeah, this is kind of a still life painting in the walls. In my opinion, Paldea is a still life that works both as a tribute to the Iberian Peninsula's culture, as also as a way of building symbolism around characters characters, Pokemon cities, because again, there are lots of hidden meanings behind everything we've talked about here. I've just talked about a little part of them. Art is really important in the peninsula, and because of that, it is one of the main foundations for Paldea and the concepts behind it, apart from astrology, past, future, etc. We have also seen how art is important for some Pokemon too, which, fair enough, it is true. This whole time, since the beginning, they have been telling us this game is based in works of art, and I think that because of it, the game shows a clear idea that is being articulated perfectly. So that was actually a pretty cool little theory, and you have them clearly in the games too, with, you know, actually like art, you know, literally like still life arts in there. You know, you even have like the bowls of fruit and everything, and I mean, it's just kind of an interesting and really cool look and like way to look at this whole, that the region is kind of has this almost like canvas feeling to it. It's basically a still life. It's a still image of life itself, but we're going to be living that kind of journey in life within the game. So again, shout out to Atari for that honestly fantastic theory. Fantastic, you know, just job putting this together. Really awesome. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section down below, and let's move on to the next topic, which comes to us from Soul Silver, who says, I don't want to be that guy, but I just wouldn't put it past the Pokemon Company Incorporated to follow a similar formula for Gen 5 remakes. I was very vocal against BDSP, so I really don't want this either. These are just awards in Japan too, so I might be okay if they did it with Johto, but then again, please no. So what is he talking about? Well, basically, Pokemon BDSP, the game received 2 prizes at the Japan Game Awards 2022. Best Japanese Game of the Year and Best Selling of the Year in Japan, which, let's be honest, okay, like, I'm sorry guys, I have to be honest, that is total bullcrap, okay? I think that's total bullshit. No offense, but BDSP was pretty fucking bad. It was a pretty horrible game. I do not think it was a decent game. I don't think it was, you know, like a good game. I think it was generally a pretty bad game. Now, does it mean I hate it? No, I actually love BDSP for one big thing. It was so broken that we've been able to now use it as a basis for future ROM hacking. So in one way, I'm thankful for its existence, but as a remake of Diamond and Pearl, I think it's horrible. Okay, as a remake of that game. So ignoring all the other aspects, but specifically as a remake of that game, I think it's like pretty lackluster. Now, because in all honesty, you can play Platinum and get a better experience than playing, you know, BDSP. You can get a better experience. And no offense to people who do enjoy it, you can enjoy it. And if you want a 3D experience of, you know, Sinnoh, you can play that. I think you should play that if that's what you're looking for. However, you want the definitive version of the Sinnoh adventure, just play Platinum. It is the better game with more content and everything to do, and better, like, kind of conclusion to story as well than you will get in Diamond and Pearl, or sorry, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. You will not get as good of an experience, which is unfortunate because it could have been great, but unfortunately it didn't turn out like that. So here's what Soul says. I'm just a tad bit worried about my beloved Gen 5. On a positive note, Game Freak always likes to innovate, like when the last time we had spin-off and remake games that were exactly the same as their predecessors, they would probably want to do something entirely, or at very least make a BDSP of Gen 5, but add many new features. There's still hope though. Apparently fans in Japan don't agree with this, so that's somewhat of a good sign. My favorite comment also has to be, don't worry, this is also a bug. Check out this thread. This is from Lutu, who said that's lots of frustrated Japanese comments on the Pokemon BDSP winning the global category award. Some of these quotes and retweeting comments are nuts. Tons of posts about bugs, an overly faithful and bland experience, a blemish on the series. Kusoge of the Year has to be my favorite. A lot of comments saying that the game sucks ass and only won due to brand power. This one I've seen the most. Isn't it Arceus? Arceus was better. Other games deserve this. Give PLA's immense sale speed in Japan. I'm not hugely surprised by this reaction. My favorite ones are people saying, don't worry, this is also a bug. But given BDSP's post-sale reception from the fans in Japan, I'm not hugely surprised by any of this. Remakes of popular games got brought up, followed by a palpable level of disappointment after playing. Very similar situation to the West. So yes, even the Japanese hate BDSP. Even the Japanese agree that BDSP was a lackluster experience, was a lackluster game. Realistically, it was. Was it a horrible game? No. But was it a good remake? No. Is it an okay game if you just want to play 3D, you know, Sinnoh? Yes, it's fine. It's you know, sure, I will revisit it at some point. And there are actually ROM hacks being made right now using BDSP that will probably make the game better. So I will be playing those in the future over on Ruffle Rowlet Plays. By the way, check out Ruffle Rowlet Plays. We're soon getting to 30k subs, so thank you for that. But either way, like I was saying, is it the end of the world? Of course not. But is it a bit lackluster? Yeah, it is. It is. Nonetheless, let's move on to the next thing, which is from Soul Silver Says, who's talking about some stuff that came out from Riddler Koo, who said cool and beep from Notarist, who basically posted like some cool art of a, I guess, Terrastall Hatterini that looked a bit different. Same thing with a Terrastall Sudowoodo that looked different a little bit. Same thing with this lad right here, this Terrastall Klinklang. And it says, I mean, beep is a 4-letter word. And I'm not really sure exactly about the context on this one. I think there is some like better kind of breakdowns of it here. A true crystal form change is a beautiful idea. Check out all of Notarist's and others' amazing interpretations, and I hope many more artists jump on this trend, especially artists that work for Game Freak. And yeah, I agree. I feel like if we had gotten to Terrastallizing and it was something like this, it would have been cooler, where like every Pokemon could have had a little bit of a unique take to its crystal form, but that would have been ridiculous to expect, right? It would have been impossible for them to do that, you know, if they were to do it for every single Pokemon receiving it. But nonetheless, I think it's a cool concept. Thought it was, you know, worthwhile to talk about. So let's move on to the most likely final thing for this video, which is the DLC theory from Soul Silver about Titans. Now, they seem to be found near these odd towers in Paldea. Well, did you know that there are 11 to 14 of them? Depends on how you count them, and only 5 Titans in the base of Scarlet and Violet. So we talked about this in a previous video, actually. But what if the DLC we get new Titans to correspond with the unused towers? So we already know there are multiple towers around the map, and we know that we'll have these kind of Titan Pokemon-esque things to take on. But like you said, is it possible that we could actually end up getting multiple of these, right? Like multiple of these towers to take on multiple Pokemon in DLC. And of course, DLC is more or less confirmed, okay? Riddler Koo Leaker has pretty much confirmed to us that there is DLC in the future. And also we know that they're not going to be doing third version games, like, you know, third version game is not happening anymore. They've kind of moved away from that. They now just focus mainly on doing, whatchamacallit, like DLC as their kind of third version instead, which I wonder if they're going to stick with that going into the future, because I do not know how good the sales were of the DLC of Crown Tundra and Isle of Armor, but I can tell you like this right now, okay? My fiance, she loves Pokemon, okay? She you know, follows my videos and followed my videos before we were together and stuff. And she would even like tell me like, yeah, when the DLC was announced, she didn't really care about it. She didn't really have any interest in it. And that's how a lot of more casual fans, which are the people that make up the bulk of sales, right? You can say whatever you want, that I'm a hardcore fan, I'll buy everything. That's fine. But at the end of the day, it's about what the general public wants, right? It's what the general public wants to buy and spend their money on. And unfortunately for, I think, Game Freak and the Pokemon Company, I don't think DLC will sell ever as much as a literal full-fledged game. And same thing for me. I am less excited for DLC than I am for a third version, which technically I should be fine with them doing a DLC because it's cheaper and I'll get those things that they would have added into a third version, but for less price. But at the same time, I don't know, I'm a little bit conflicted on this and I want to hear what you guys think about it. Are you one of those people who doesn't care about DLC? Because I've never personally cared about DLC for any game, okay? For Pokemon, it's mainly because, well, I have to do content creation, and I do think the Crown Tundra was a fantastic DLC. I think it was one of the best DLCs ever. It's just fantastic. But also, like, I'm not the sort of person who oftentimes buys DLC. I played Call of Duty Black Ops 2 for the longest time and never bought a single of one of the DLCs, even though it limited me in what maps I could play with my friends and stuff. But nonetheless, I still didn't buy them because I just didn't feel like it was worth it. And there's a lot of people like that who just don't care. Like, once they played the base game, they move on with their life and they're not going to care about it anymore unless there's a third version that comes out, and then they might pick that up the same way a lot of people do that. But some people might just ignore the DLC for that specific reason. However, I want to know what you guys think about all this. Let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys the next time. Peace out and bye-bye, ladies and gents.